Hello. Well, here I am again on a Sunday. And I always have difficulty nowadays on a Sunday because when I developed some health problems in my old age, I decided I had to stop making videos on local issues like tenants organization, and I might refer to them when there was an important meeting, something like that, but otherwise I would not deal with their problems. I needed to confine myself to a not such a big, vast area. So I address causes and issues that are national in scope, like legalized abortion, which I feel is giving our country a lot of trouble nowadays, with the Democratic and the Republican Party absolutely opposed on this issue. The Republicans want to repeal the decision of Roe versus Wade. The Democrats have made the woman's right to a legal and safe abortion their platform. So there couldn't be more of a clash there. So I've chosen to address that issue. But on Sunday, I have this big problem in connection to this issue because I'm no longer connected to a religion. I was raised in a Mormon church, but because of the polygamy issue, I ended up leaving the Mormon church because I saw close up hand, even though the mainstream Mormon church was no longer practicing polygamy, but not because they had given it up, but because the President of the United States declared it illegal and told the Mormon church they could not join the union and practice polygamy. So, and in fact, they said, well, I wouldn't join then, they'd just stay a territory. And said, no, you can't even stay a territory either. Because apparently that president at the time was upset by the prospect of a whole state of polygamists admitting. And but what troubles me is there's been a failure, I think, by the church to address the fallout from polygamy, like, for example, the lost boys and a lot of the abuses that's coming to light more and more as polygamous people in polygamous sex try to escape it and tell about abuses. And these people, a lot of times, polygamous sex head for Utah because it's regarded as soft on polygamy. And of course it is, because it was settled by a polygamist, Brigham Young, who led Mormons that were being persecuted because of polygamy across the plains to settle in an unoccupied part of the country, more or less. So I grew up with observing the fallout from polygamy in all kinds of ways. And it bothered me that it was still on the books, as I feel that churches, when they have when a revelation is received by a leader and turns out to have a lot of problems involved in it, they have a terrible time addressing those problems, is because of claiming that, God gave a revelation And this has got to be right. Now, don't make mistakes. And again, I say, I think God tries this and tries that. If it didn't work, I don't see any disgrace in trying something and finding out it wasn't working. Nature itself is full of that kind of alteration when something wasn't working very well. So I think something else was developed. But there's an implication that when we get to heaven, we will somehow live these revelation. And the revelation of polygamy, which I do not see how in the world polygamy could ever be lived in heaven any more than it worked out for the Mormon church here. And it's not working out well for a lot of the polygamous sects. They're in trouble because of abuses to children, to women. So I left the church, and at the same time, and the abortion issue is very much connected to this church, Catholic Church, which claims to have been fighting abortion since the 3rd century. Mother Teresa is a saint who's just been canonized in Rome, who has been fighting abortion. But I can't be regarded, I can't be a Catholic, and so I can be at least regarded as a saint, because I have a big lot of trouble with the fact that in the 400 AD, after Christ, the Catholic Church, a priest married, but according to the history I read, the church didn't like it because the priests tended to leave all their assets, instead of to the church that they'd been working for, they left them to their children. So their wealth did not accrue in the church. And this was claimed by this historian as the reason that they started requiring priests and nuns not to marry. Well, I think that history shows us that some priests and nuns find this extremely hard principle to live by. And I think inadvertently the Catholic Church, by demanding this, brought on the worst, a pedophile priest problem. And not good either, priests who went ahead and had sexual relationships but lied about it. And it promoted homosexuality among priests, because a same-sex relationship was easier to hide. And the Catholic Church still fights priests who want to marry. No, that's not. And I think that they're going to continue to have this kind of problem, pedophile priests, if they don't normalize the church and allow and give acceptance to the man-woman relationship. This is implying that the man-woman relationship, something is wrong with it. That's the message it's sending. Well, there's something very wrong with pedophile priests, and there's something very wrong with promoting homosexuality too. So I think the Catholic Church, and I thank goodness I wasn't born into it, because I know I'd be arguing with the priests and the hierarchy that this was wrong. And I had to be one of those that was fighting to restore women's respect for women in the Catholic Church, as a wife, as a partner to a priest. So, and I've read, I respected the age of the Catholic Church and what some of the great priests have done. Their education, There's all kinds of virtues that the Catholic Church has. But this the fact priests and nuns are not allowed to marry, that's the biggie. That's the one I can't accept. And so, and then the Christians. Now, Mormons also are Christian church because they believe in Jesus. But they have to spend so much time trying to deal with the Joseph Smith revelations that doesn't get nearly as much attention as in most Christian churches where Jesus is the center. But then I have had Christians who were trying to convert me to their church, and I was required to accept Jesus as my Savior, and that I just could not accept what they said Jesus was. Because I don't think there's any way to prove what Jesus was, how he was born, just what kind of person he was. But people make all kinds of claims about him. That he was this great, great being beyond any that's ever been created, and all kinds of stuff like this. And I would have to say, oh no, I can't accept that. I feel it's bad to exaggerate or to reality is very tough for people to face. And I think back in those days, 2,000 years ago, people made all kinds of fantastical claims. Rulers would claim to be divine. They would make these claims. So I think that this business of regarding the Bible, which is a collection of a whole lot of people's sayings and thoughts, that this is absolutely the word of God, I am not able to do this. So this is where I clash with a lot of Christians. But I think it's very important, if you think something, if you believe that you're right about this, to defend what you think, even if it's not popular. And so this is a big difficulty in getting accepted and being the least bit popular when you're fighting an unpopular cause like protesting legalized abortion. But I think it's important to protest it in the way that I regard the truth, what I think is the truth, and so that's what I do. So, but it doesn't get any easier, right? I just have a tough time with this. But all in all, I believe that a man and woman relationship, many men and women relationships are the strongest, the most powerful, the best for their children, and that's what we should promote, is healthy relationships of parents, the mother, the father, and give both equal respect, which polygamy does not do. The system of Catholic priests, nuns, abstaining from these relationships does not give importance to the man-woman relationship. It implies there's a weakness in it, that saintly people don't need sex. That's the implication in the Catholic Church, is saintly people can do without sex. Sex is just a well, you sure can't do without sex and have kids. That is for sure. So anyway, those are my thoughts on another Sunday.